What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks bringing you some more Go Battle League battles here in the Ultra Premier Cup, and today I'm going to be showcasing the team that I talked about in one of my previous videos, this Toxicroak Lapras Clefable team, and I'm just going to be showcasing a bunch of battles of me using this team. So when I started using this team, I was around the 2500 rating. I was really struggling in Ultra Premier to just go positive in the sets. I had like 5 or 6 negative days in a row where my rating just kept going down and down and down. But since I started using this team, I'm actually in the 2700 ratings right now. So I gained over 200 points since I started using this team. So I feel like this team really is powerful. Part of the reason why it performs so well is the surprise factor of running a Charmer in the back or running Ice Beam on the Lapras. So obviously the more people that watch these videos, the more people that tune into my live streams, in theory, the less effective this team will be, because it will now be known to the public and people will be able to prepare for it a little bit. But this Toxicroak in the lead, obviously you're going to be weak to Flyers and Confusion users. So typically I'm using Lapras as the safe swap. Honestly, one of the worst leads that you could see with this team is like a Charizard, because it handles both the Toxicroak and the Clefable in the back. Typically when I have to play against Charizard users, there's always some sort of anti-water in the back as well, and if it's a Venusaur, that actually hard counters both, well, not hard counters, but counters the Lapras, and pretty much hard counters the Clefable, so that's pretty rough. But even like a Gallade lead, just switch into the Lapras, because then you'll have Clefable in the back to still be able to hard counter the Gallade endgame. And typically the Gallade will actually stay in there for a little bit, and if they get too greedy, you're able to land a Surf on it, and then that puts it almost in Mud Bomb range with your Toxicroak. So there's definitely ways to play out of it. There's also a pretty common line floating around right now of Snorlax and then double Dragon Breath users in the back, so Kingdra and Dragonite. This team just auto wins against it. If you saw my previous video where I was winning a game with my nose, like tapping my nose on the screen, it was against that team, because this team just easily hard counters it. You don't even need to throw a charge move or use a shield, because it's just such a hard counter there. I've also seen that Double Dragon team run with Empoleon in the lead, but again, this team handles this very well. Obviously, like, sometimes the Charmer in the back is really great if you've already potentially baited out an anti-charm Pokemon, but sometimes it just gets totally hard-walled, especially with Ultra Premier. I feel like the meta is just crazy wide open. It's almost like a lottery system based on what you might run into, so sometimes this team is going to work very well, sometimes you're going to get hard counter, but I think there is a lot of interplay in some of those iffy matches as well. So let's just take a look at these battles here, and I ended these sets at 2707, so again, gained over 200 points with this team, so it really felt good to finally be able to go positive again. You saw me double shield my Lapras because it was switch locked against a Magnezone, and I actually was able to win switch because it didn't commit any shields, and switch advantage was everything in this game, because as you can see, this allowed me to align my Toxicroak with their Empoleon, and it allowed me to align my Clefable with their Gallade. So even though I'm down 2 shields, this is just pure fast move beatdown here. I just need to get one counter through on this Empoleon, and I'm able to take it out, and they lose with 2 shields. Good game. Toxicroak and a Snorlax, I think this is the team right here. There's the Kingdra, so at this point it's just a free win, unless they have altered their backline, but this Double Dragon Breath team is pretty strong, but it is reliant on you successfully baiting out the Charmer, which is what this Kingdra does. And so then the Dragonite thinks that it's in the clear, and then lo and behold, you have a full health Lapras, and so there's literally nothing they can do. Their only win scenario is if I get a phone call, or my app crashes, or we run into just some amazing Go Battle lag, which we see all the time. So there's the Dragonite, and just farming this down. Again, like there's really nothing they can do. This is just a super hard counter team. And luckily, that double Dragon Breath team is actually somewhat popular right now. I know the 6'4 Ninja, who is another content creator on Twitch. I'm not sure if he does YouTube stuff, but he's the first person I saw running this team. My friend Jason, known as J. Robin Stacks, a local here in Colorado, also another content creator on Twitch, has also been running that team a lot. So it has been getting a decent amount of exposure, and I love that my team hard counters it. So you'll see sometimes I'll use Clefable as the safe swap just to kind of mix things up and see what happens. I baited out an Empoleon here, which is terrible for my Lapras and my Clefable, so kind of either one that I would have swapped would have been tough there. So I commit one shield on the Empoleon and farm down. I'm down in shields, it's not looking great. Out comes the Togekiss, but because my Toxicroak has a jump start on energy, I'm going to be able to threaten this Togekiss a little bit. I really love Toxicroak because it has access to Sludge Bomb, and you're only taking neutral damage from Charm. Obviously, Confusion just totally destroys you, but... So, yeah, my opponent has a really solid team comp against me. If I would have safe swapped the Lapras, they most likely would have brought out their Obstagoon. If I safe swapped the Clefable like I did, it was met with an Empoleon, so pretty solid counters against my team. What I'm trying to do here is burn their last shield so I can potentially land a Sludge Bomb on the Togekiss, but they're too smart. They recognize what I'm trying to do. Right here, I could have potentially stored a Surf and then swapped into Toxicroak, burned the last shield, and tried to burn the last shield. But this is going to be an uphill battle for sure. The Charmer leads are challenging, but at least you can play it out a little bit. Toxicroak and a Swampert. Okay, this is probably one of the toughest leads for my team as well. I stay in here a little bit, and then I attempt to catch something on Lapras. It does not work. So Swampert lead. This opponent is going to need some anti-grass in the back. So out comes Escavalier. But I'm also suspecting that there could be an Alolan Muck in the back. So I actually commit a shield here just because I want to be able to pressure shields on their side. And then I have to make a tough call here. I could either come out with Clefable and farm this down because the Drill Run really isn't that scary. Or I could come out with Toxicroak, which I do end up doing here. Probably the not smart play, because I get hit with the Drill Run. If I brought out... Okay, now I bring out Clefable. And luckily my opponent actually makes a simultaneous swap into their own Swampert. So they're throwing double Hydro Cannon. And these charms are really adding up. They can't Mud Shot me down. They cannot Mud Shot me down, but they tried. I have a move stored. I know the Escavalier is going to come out, but I need to... Man, I could potentially have not thrown this move, but I was afraid that the Escavalier would get enough energy to get to another move. It was a Togekiss in the back, so in hindsight, if I had not... It's also an Air Slash Togekiss, which is the second reason why I lost this game right here. Because this is a CMP tie. If it was a Charm Togekiss, I would have won, because I'm very close to the Sludge Bomb, as you can see there. Another win condition was just not throwing the energy onto the Escavalier so I could farm it down more. Here's the team again. I think this is actually the battle where I am battling with my nose. Maybe not, because I actually clicked the no shield. No, I think this is a thumbs battle here. But it's the team again. Snorlax double Dragon Breath, and it just absolutely hard counters it. I don't know if you all have run into that team, but I actually run into it fairly consistently. So again, this is just super hard countering. There's really no finesse involved. We're just tapping it down. The Snorlax is... oh, I am battling with my nose now. Yeah, I switched halfway through. Yeah, I missed the excellent there, but it doesn't even matter. Here, I'm trying to click my Toxicroak with my nose, and it's not registering, but luckily it does bring in the Toxicroak. No need to shield anything. We know that there's a Dragonite in the back. Even if there wasn't a Dragonite in the back, like, we still have a full health Lapras and 2 shields, and it is a Dragonite in the back, so tap it down with the nose here. And they still have the Snorlax, but it's such low health that the Ice Shards are going to be coming through. I have considered running this team with a different fighter. Potentially Machamp. But then I'm actually somewhat weaker to Gallade because both those moves are resisted. Potentially Obstagoon. But then I'm weaker to opposing fighters. So it's kind of tough. Potentially Escavalier. I would have some play against Gallade. But then I'm really weak against a Charizard lead. If I ran an Escavalier lead, I would definitely have to not run Clefable in the back. So I don't know. I know the more videos I post on this team and the more people that see it, the more challenging it's going to be for me to run this. But if I remember correctly, I think Ultra leaves fairly soon. Is it starting next week that we're in Masters or the week after? I honestly can't remember, but so I might just try to ride this team out as much as I can and see how much rating I can gain from it. Because again, there's going to be some games you lose purely based on team comp. There's going to be some games you win purely based on team comp. Oh my gosh, freaking Exeggutor, Shadow Exeggutor. I think this is just a Seed Bomb. But then they're going to be able to Confusion me down. The Confusions do so much damage. I have to try to counter this down. This is most likely a Seed Bomb, and I barely survive. And then out comes the Empoleon, and it's a draw instead of a loss. So with ties, even though it shows up as a loss in your journal, it does not negatively affect your rating, which is really great. So anytime you can force a tie other than a loss, it's really nice. These Abomasnow leads, Abomasnow. I know everyone likes to just rip on me in the comments because it sounds like I'm saying Obamasnow, but there is in fact an A at the beginning of that name, Abomasnow, or Abomasnow. But I'm able to get my Clefable switch locked against this Dragonite, which is the dream, and there's no way that this is a Hurricane. I still have a pretty healthy loaded Toxicroak, and I'm going to be able to charm down the Abomasnow, and then they leave, so they must have had something weak to charm in the back. Okay, this is a really good lead for Toxicroak. The grass leads are great. Against Venusaur, it's actually not like super great. It's actually somewhat of a neutral matchup because that poison typing allows Venusaur to resist the counters. But this is a very favorable matchup here. We're getting some great lag here. You'll love to see it. Gonna throw the Sludge Bomb and they just sack it. Out comes the Exeggutor. I did not want to be farmed down, so I used Lapras as my safe switch, which is great. I preserved some health on my Toxicroak. They bring out Machamp. So in my head, I'm already recognizing that a double shielded Clefable is going to be my win condition here. They even allow me to get off this Surf, so I know that they're going to shield here. They want to farm me down. I'm going to be able to bring in Toxicroak as a damage sponge here, because Clefable's going to win this game for me. Look at this great lag. Oh, this is amazing, actually. My Toxicroak just gets countered down because I'm stuck there frozen while my opponent is doing counters. You absolutely love to see it. But you can't really blame the opponent. You just have to blame this clunky game, because this is just part of Go Battle League. Like, sometimes you're on the negative end of the lag, sometimes you're on the positive end. When it all comes down to it, we just need mechanics that work, and hopefully that'll happen sooner than later. If this is a Seed Bomb, I barely survive. If it's a Psychic, they played very well. I barely survive, and then I'm able, the Charm registers before the Confusion. Very good game. Toxicroak and a Gengar. Okay, so I'm always suspecting that this might be the new Caleb Pang team, which is Gengar in the lead, which is terrible for my Toxicroak, and then Lapras, but the Lapras has Skull Bash and then Crustle in the back. So I bring in my Lapras here. They probably throw a Sludge. Okay, they're throwing a Shadow Punch. And then they mirror with their own Lapras, which is just terrible. Really bad, because my Lapras running Skull Bash does terrible against opposing Lapras. What I want to have happen when I use this Lapras as a safe swap is to bait out a Grass type. But it doesn't seem to be working hardly ever. Most of the time, my opponent like throws some energy with their lead Pokemon and then mirrors with their own Lapras. And I'm not sure if that's because they know that my Lapras doesn't have Skull Bash, or because whatever they have in the back is weaker to Lapras. In this case, if it is a Crustle in the back, I guess mirroring with Lapras makes a little bit of sense, but I'm still in a very tough position here. I still have my Lapras with a lot of loaded energy. Gonna bring out my Clefable here, probably commit a shield to start. Oh, not gonna shield the Surf. I know that they still have Gengar with loaded energy, and the Sludge Bombs are essentially gonna one-shot me. So I shielded up, thank goodness they did not bait me. These Charms, even though they're resisted, are really adding up. But Gengar is so fast at getting to these Sludge Bombs, I shielded up again. What is in the back? I'm gonna get hit by a Shadow Punch here. Yeah, Gengar is terrible for this team. Oh my gosh. I have my Lapras with so much stored energy. Out comes their own Lapras, and then ideally I had to like farm up more, because if it was a Crustle in the back, I needed like 2 Surfs to land. So that was gonna be tough. I don't even know what they have in the back. Toxicroak into Escavalier isn't even that great of a lead. It's pretty wild, because Escavalier's charge move of Drill Run is going to hit Toxicroak for super effective, whereas Toxicroak's moves of Mud Bomb is only going to hit for neutral. So they switch out, and then I'm going to try to bait with a Mud Bomb. This is kind of a stupid bait here, because I'm really only going to get to one more move if I would have stayed in there. This Granbull is actually going to be pretty annoying to deal with. Granbull learns Close Combat and Crunch, so they threw the Close Combat and I farmed up to 90 energy, almost maxed it out. I'm anticipating that they were going to let this go, but they did not, so I'm just going to throw another Surf. Then most likely the Escavalier is going to come out and farm me down, but I should be able to get to one more Surf. They do not want that to happen. That's fine by me. I can bring out my either Toxicroak or Clefable and get a jump start on energy. I bring out the Toxicroak and it's a Charizard in the back. I'm barely able to get to the Sludge Bomb. Barely able to get there. And then Clefable can tank a Blast Burn. And these Charms, even though they're resisted, are so powerful, I'm only going to have to eat one Blast Burn here. And then I can charm down the Escavalier as well. Thank goodness I burned both those shields. I was able to win that game. Alright, this is the dream. I'm anticipating a Gallade swap in, but it's a Tangrowth, so I am confused. I honestly should just bring my Clefable. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of an awkward scenario. So I can bring out my Lapras, but honestly I could also have brought out my... yeah, this is tough because I'm gonna get farmed. Heavily by the Magnezone. So I either needed more energy or less health from that previous matchup, because this is super annoying to deal with a loaded Magnezone, because it's gonna burn both my shields on the Toxicroak. And I have no idea what's in the back. Luckily I did save all this energy, so I'm gonna force them to shield first. I get the shield there. I'm going to have to double shield this, which sucks, especially since I get baited. I know this is probably going to be a wild charge, and then they're going to leave. And it's a Gallade in the back, so I was very quick to my swap. I'm able to get my Clefable on this Gallade, and they don't even throw a move. So I'm not sure if they were over-tapping or what, but I'm going to be able to land this Psychic. For sure going to burn the last shield, and these Charms are adding up. These Charms are really adding up. You got to throw something. Mirror Shot does not take me out here. You have to Wild Charge me. And they can't farm down. I'm able to Charm it down. Because now they're essentially out of energy, and I can just get one counter and take out this Magnezone. The Magnezone lead, although it's favorable, is actually one of the scariest leads to play out, because my back line, both Lapras and Clefable, can get farmed pretty hard by Magnezone. So I'm always trying to make sure that in the secondary matchup, I'm attempting to end with either maximum energy or minimal health. I was a little slow to my switch out because they switched into Slowking, and I'm not really used to seeing that. So I did make a big mistake there. I throw the Meteor Mash, I get a shield. And then ideally I actually wanted to leave this Slowking with more health, and I wanted to intentionally lose this matchup anyways, so I could farm more with my Lapras. But now I'm actually just going to bring out Toxicroak and counter it down. Yeah, I did eat a Confusion, which is terrible. Out comes Charizard. So I am not in the clear yet. I have to bring Lapras into that. I know the Abomasnow is going to come back out again. And this is a tough scenario to be in. Luckily, they fail the bait. So this is great for me. Because I knew that Energy Ball is actually probably going to do more damage than Blast Burn, just barely. And then I land the Ice Beam. So Ice Beam came in super clutch, and I'm able to win that game there. Good game. But that was going to be a tough game to play out. Luckily, they failed the bait. Ampharos lead. I only win this in the 0 and the 1 shield, but for some reason they switch out into Clefable. And then this is tough. Full health Clefable is just going to do so much damage to my Lapras. And ideally I don't want to have to commit a shield here. I really don't want to have to commit a shield here. I also don't even know if I want to... Oh, they got the defense debuff, which is actually terrible. So I'm going to be able to farm with my own Clefable. I know they won't get to another move. What is in the back? We've seen an Ampharos. Probably a Venusaur would make the most sense. They bring out Ampharos again. Oh, I think this is the opponent that totally just toys with my emotions. They bring out the Ampharos, so I'm like, oh man, maybe Clefable will be able to sweep whatever's in the back. They burn both my shields. They're still staying in here, so I'm really hopeful. And what comes out? A Skarmory. A freaking Skarmory, which is very favorable against my Toxicroak and my Clefable. So this is just a disaster. Even if I would have saved the shield for like Toxicroak, I still don't think this was a winnable scenario. The Skarmory in the back just has too much play against Toxicroak and Clefable. Clefable definitely put up a fight with these charms though, even though it's resisted, but brutal. Good game. I thought Clefable was going to sweep in the back, but they toyed with my emotions. Okay, this is the dream. I love to see the Obstagoon leads. Then they switch into Snorlax. Now, typically when I see this combination, I'm actually anticipating a Drifblim in the back. But this opponent actually surprises me with what they have. The reason I'm not switching out is because Clefable also hard counters Obstagoon. So I'm just going to stay in. They bring out Gengar. Okay. So this was very surprising to me. I was anticipating a Drifblim. So I'm going to aggressively switch in my Lapras here because I don't want to be farmed. Gonna let whatever this is go through. But in my head, I'm already thinking double shielded Clefable's probably going to be the win scenario here. Thank goodness they stayed in with their Gengar and I was able to burn that last shield because things are looking really good right now. So I should not even throw energy on this Obstagoon. I should not throw a move here because I should charm it down and then get a Psychic on the Gengar. That's my win scenario. So I recognize that and then I'm like, you idiot, Taylor, why did you throw that? I bring out the Clefable. I'm going to be able to farm it down, and because I was worried that this is a Gunk Shot, but it was a Night Slash, which is horrible. Out comes the Gengar. I should be able to get to a move here. If they bait me, it's a little bit scary, but I think they just go straight for the nuke. Yeah, they do, and I'm going to be able to get to a Meteor Mash here, which is definitely going to be able to take it out. Thank you all so much for watching. As you will see, I end at 2707 rating. This team has been working. I'm going to continue to try to run it and see what happens, but make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content, and I will catch you all in the next video.